श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम 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 शरणं मम शरणं मम शरणं मम शरणं मम बोलिए श्री कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। कृष्ण मुरारी जय कृष्ण मुरारी 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 मुरलीधर पीतांबरधारी मुरलीधर पीतांबरधारी मुरलीधर पीतांबरधारी मुरलीधर पीतांबरधारी माई मीरा प्रभु गिरिधारी 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 कृष्ण मुरारी जय कृष्ण मुरारी 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 वृंदावन गोवर्धन धारी वृंदावन गोवर्धन धारी वृंदावन गोवर्धन धारी वृंदावन गोवर्धन धारी सूरदास के हृदय विहारी सूरदास के हृदय विहारी सूरदास के हृदय विहारी,
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 सूरदास के हृदय विहारी।
कृष्ण मुरारी जय कृष्ण मुरारी,
कृष्ण मुरारी जय कृष्ण मुरारी,
कृष्ण मुरारी जय कृष्ण मुरारी,
कृष्ण मुरारी जय कृष्ण मुरारी।
मुरलीधर पीतांबर धारी,
मुरलीधर पीतांबर धारी,
मुरलीधर पीतांबर धारी,
मुरलीधर पीतांबर धारी।
माई मीरा प्रभु गिरिधारी,
माई मीरा प्रभु गिरिधारी,
माई मीरा प्रभु गिरिधारी,
माई मीरा प्रभु गिरिधारी।
कृष्ण मुरारी जय कृष्ण मुरारी,
कृष्ण मुरारी जय कृष्ण मुरारी।
वृंदावन गोवर्धन धारी,
वृंदावन गोवर्धन धारी,
वृंदावन गोवर्धन धारी,
वृंदावन गोवर्धन धारी।
सूरदास के हृदय विहारी,
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 सूरदास के हृदय विहारी।
कृष्ण मुरारी जय कृष्ण मुरारी,
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 कृष्ण मुरारी जय कृष्ण मुरारी।
Hari Om everyone. Can you all hear me clearly? We are still in the 28th chapter. It has too many treasures to just jump away from that whole chapter. We'll come to that after we have done our invocation and then go into Bhagavatam. So in between we have this Lalita Sahasranama chanting also. So let us start with the invocation and get today's satsang Devi Group started. सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Let us begin the chanting. ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं सिन्दूरारुणविग्रहां त्रिनयनां माणिक्यमौलिस्फुरत् तारानायकशेखरां स्मितमुखीमापीनवक्षोरुहां पाणिभ्यां मलिपूर्णरत्नचषकं रत्नोत्पलं बिभ्रतीं सौम्यां रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणां ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकाम् अरुणां करुणातरङ्गिताक्षीं धृतपाशाङ्कुशपुष्पबाणचापाम् अणिमादिभिरावृतां मयूखैः अहमित्येव विभावये भवानीं ध्यायेत् पद्मासनस्थां विकसितवदनां पद्मपत्रायताक्षीं हेमाभां पीतवस्त्रां करकलितलसद्धेमपद्मां वराङ्गीं सर्वालङ्कारयुक्तां सततमभयदां भक्तनम्रां भवानीं श्रीविद्यां शान्तमूर्तिं सकलसुरनुतां सर्वसम्पत्प्रदात्रीं सकुङ्कुमविलेपनाम् अलिकचुम्बिकस्तूरिकां समन्दहसितेक्षणां सशरचापपाशाङ्कुशाम् अशेषजनमोहिनीमरुणमाल्यभूषाम्बरां जपाकुसुमभासुरां जपविधौ स्मरेदम्बिकाम्। ॐ श्रीमाता श्रीमहाराज्ञी श्रीमत्सिंहासनेश्वरी चिदग्निकुण्डसम्भूता देवकार्यसमुद्यता उद्यद्भानुसहस्राभा चतुर्बाहुसमन्विता रागस्वरूपपाषाढ्या क्रोधाकाराङ्कुशोज्ज्वला मनोरूपेक्षुकोदण्ड पञ्चतन्मात्रसायका निजारुणप्रभापूरा मज्जद्ब्रह्माण्डमण्डला चम्पकाशोकपुन्नागसौगन्धिकलसत्कचा कुरुविन्दमनिश्रेणी कनत्कोटीरमण्डिता अष्टमी चन्द्रविभ्राजदलिकस्थलशोभिता मुखचन्द्रकलङ्काभा मृगनाभिविशेषका वदनस्मरमाङ्गल्य गृहतोरणचिल्लिका वक्तलक्ष्मीपरीवाह चलन्मीनाभलोचना नवचम्पकपुष्पाभा नासाविराजिता ताराकान्तिरस्कारी नासाभरणभासुरा कदम्बजरीक्लुप्तकर्णपूरमनोहरा ताटङ्कयुगलीभूता तपनोडुपमण्डला पद्मरागशिलादर्श परिभाविकपोलभूः नवविद्रुमबिम्बश्रीन्यक्कारिरदनच्छदा शुद्धविद्याङ्कुराकारा द्विजपङ्क्तिद्वयोज्ज्वला कर्पूरवीटिकामोदा समाकर्षिदिगन्तरा निजसल्लापमाधुर्य विनिर्भत्सितकच्छपी मन्दस्मितप्रभापूरा मज्जत्कामेशमानसा अनाकलितसादृश्य चिबुकश्रीविराजिता कामेशबद्धमाङ्गल्य सूत्रशोभितकन्धरा कनकाङ्गदकेयूर कमनीयभुजान्विता रत्नग्रैवेयचिन्ता कलोलमुक्ताफलान्विता कामेश्वरप्रेमरत्नमणिप्रतिपनस्तनी नाभ्यालवालरोमाली लताफलकुचद्वयी लक्षरोमलताधारतासमुन्नेयमध्यमा स्तनभारदलन्मध्य पट्टबन्धवलित्रया अरुणारुणकौसुम्भवस्तभास्वत्कटीतटी रत्नकिङ्किणिकारम्य रशनादामभूषिता कामेशज्ञातसौभाग्यमार्दवोरुद्वयान्विता माणिक्यमकुटाकारा जानुद्वयविराजिता इन्द्रगोपपरिक्षिप्तस्मरत्तूर्णाभजङ्गिका गूढगुल्फा कूर्मपृष्ठा जयिष्णुप्रपदान्विता नखदीतिथिसञ्चन्ना नमज्जनतमोर्गुणा पदद्वयप्रभाजाला पराकृतसरोरुहा सिञ्जाणमणिमञ्जीर मण्डितश्रीपदाम्बुजा मरालीमन्दगमना महालावण्यशेवतिः सर्वारुणानवद्याङ्गी सर्वाभरणभूषिता शिवकामेश्वराङ्कस्था शिवा स्वाधीनवल्लभा सुमेरुमध्यशृङ्गस्था श्रीमन्नगरनायिका चिन्तामणिगृहान्तस्था पञ्चब्रह्मासनस्थिता महापद्माटवी संस्था कदम्बवनवासिनी सुधासागरमध्यस्था कामाक्षी कामदायिनी देवर्षिगणसङ्घाता स्तूयमानात्मवैभवा भण्डासुरवधोद्युक्ता शक्तिसेना समन्विता संपत्करी समारूढ़ सिंधुरव्रज सेविता अश्वारूढ़ाधिष्ठिताश्वा कोटिकोटिभिरावृता चक्रराजरथारूढ़ा सर्वायुध परिष्कृता के चक्ररथारूढ़ा मंत्रिणी परिसेविता किरिचक्ररथारूढ़ा दंडनाथा पुरस्कृता ज्वाला मालिनिकाक्षिप्त वह्नि प्राकार मध्यगा भंड सैन्यवधोद्युक्ता शक्ति विक्रमहर्षिता नित्या पराक्रमाटोपा निरीक्षण समुत्सुका भंडपुत्रवधोद्युक्ता बाला विक्रमनंदिता मंत्रिण्यंबा विरचिता विषंगवदतोषिता विशुक्रप्राणहरण वाराही वीर्यनंदिता कामेश्वर मुखालोक कल्पित श्री गणेश्वरा महागणेश निर्भिन्न विघ्नयंत्र प्रहर्षिता भंडा सुरेंद्र निर्मुक्त शस्त्र प्रत्यस्त्र वर्षिणी करांगुलिनखोत्पन्न नारायण दशाकृति महापाशुपतास्ताग्नि निर्दग्धासुर सैनिका कामेश्वरास्त्र निर्दग्ध सभंडासुर शून्यका ब्रह्मोपेन्द्र महेन्द्रादि देव संस्तुत वैभवा हर नेत्राग्नि संदग्ध काम संजीवन औषधि श्रीमद्वाग्भवकूटैक स्वरूप मुखपंकजा कंठादक्कटि पर्यंत मध्यकूट स्वरूपिणी शक्तिकूटैकतापन्न कट्यधोभागधारिणी मूलमंत्रात्मिका मूलकूटत्रयकलेवरा कुलामृतैकरसिका कुलसंकेतपालिनी कुलांगना कुलांतस्था कौलिनी कुलयोगिनी अकुला समयांतस्था समयाचार तत्परा मूलाधारैक निलया ब्रह्मग्रंथि विभेदिनी मणिपूरांतरुदिता विष्णुग्रंथि विभेदिनी आज्ञाचक्रांतरालस्था रुद्रग्रंथि विभेदिनी सहस्रारांबुजारूढ़ा सुधासाराभिवर्षिणी तडिल्लता समरुचि षट्चक्रोपरि संस्थिता महाशक्ति कुंडलिनी विसदंतुतनीयसी भवानी भावनागम्या भवारण्यकुठारिका भद्रप्रिया भद्रमूर्तिर्भक्त सौभाग्यदायिनी भक्तिप्रिया भक्तिगम्या भक्तिवश्या भयापहा शांभवी शारदाराध्या शर्वाणी शर्मदायिनी शांकरी श्रीकरी साध्वी शरश्चंद्र निभानना शातोदरी शांतिमती निराधारा निरंजना निर्लेपा निर्मला नित्या निराकारा निराकुला निर्गुणा निष्कला शांता निष्कामा निरुपप्लवा नित्यमुक्ता निर्विकारा निष्प्रपंचा निराश्रया नित्यशुद्धा नित्यबुद्धा निरवध्या निरंतरा निष्कारणा निष्कलंका निरुपाधिर्निरीश्वरा नीरागारा गमथनी निर्मदा मदनाशिनी निश्चिंता निरहंकारा निर्मोहा मोहनाशिनी निर्ममा ममताहंत्री निष्पापा पापनाशिनी निष्क्रोधा क्रोधशमनी निर्लोभा लोभनाशिनी निस्संशया संशयग्नि निर्भवा भवनाशिनी निर्विकल्पा निराबाधा निर्भेदा भेदनाशिनी निर्नाशा मृत्युमथनी निष्क्रिया निष्परिग्रहा निस्तुला नीलचिकुरा निरपाया निरत्यया दुर्लभा दुर्गमा दुर्गा दुःखहंत्री सुखप्रदा दुष्टदूरा दुराचारा शमनी दोषवर्जिता सर्वज्ञा सांद्र करुणा समानाधिकवर्जिता सर्वशक्तिमयी सर्वमंगला सद्गतिप्रदा सर्वेश्वरी सर्वमयी सर्वमंत्रस्वरूपिणी सर्वयंत्रात्मिका सर्वतंत्ररूपा मनोन्मनी माहेश्वरी महादेवी महालक्ष्मी मृडप्रिया महापूज्या महारूपा महापूज्या महापातकनाशिनी महामाया महासत्वा महाशक्तिर्महारतिः महाभोगा महेश्वर्या महावीर्या महाबला महाबुद्धिर्महासिद्धिर्महायोगेश्वरेश्वरी महातंत्रा महामंत्रा महायंत्रा महासना महायागक्रमाराध्या महाभैरवपूजिता महेश्वर महाकल्प महातांडवसाक्षिणी महाकामेश महिषी महात्रिपुरसुंदरी चतुष्षष्ट्युपचाराढ्या चतुष्षष्टिकलामयी महाचतुष्षष्टिकोटि योगिनी गणसेविता मनुविद्या चंद्रविद्या चंद्रमंडलमध्यगा चारुरूपा चारुहासा चारुचंद्र कलाधरा चराचर जगन्नाथा चक्रराजनिकेतना पार्वती पद्मनयना पद्मराग समप्रभा पंचप्रेतासनासीना पंचब्रह्मस्वरूपिणी चिन्मयी परमानंदा विज्ञान घनरूपिणी ध्यानध्यातृध्येय रूपा धर्माधर्म विवर्जिता विश्वरूपा जागरिणी स्वपंती तेजसात्मिका सुप्ता प्राज्ञात्मिका तुर्या सर्वावस्था विवर्जिता सृष्टिकर्त्री ब्रह्मरूपा गोप्त्री गोविंदरूपिणी संहारिणी रुद्ररूपा तिरोधानकरीश्वरी सदाशिवानुग्रहदा पंचकृत्यपरायणा भानुमंडल मध्यस्था भैरवी भगमालिनी पद्मासना भगवती पद्मनाभ सहोदरी उन्मेष निमिषोत्पन्न विपन्न भुवनावली सहस्रशीर्षवदना सहस्राक्षी सहस्रपात आ ब्रह्म कीट जननी वर्णाश्रम विदायिनी निजाज्ञारूप निगमा पुण्या पुण्यफलप्रदा श्रुति सीमंत सिंदूरी स्फुटपादाब्जधूलिका सकलागम संदोहा शुक्ति संपुट मुक्तिका पुरुषार्थप्रदा पूर्णा भोगिनी भुवनेश्वरी अंबिकानादि निधना हरिब्रह्मेन्द्र सेविता नारायणी नादरूपा नामरूप विवर्जिता ह्रींकारी ह्रीमती हृदया हेयोपादेयवर्जिता राजराजार्चिता राज्ञी रम्या राजीवलोचना रंजनी रमणीरस्या रणत्किङ्किणीमेखला रमा राकेन्दुवदना रतिरूपा रतिप्रिया रक्षाकरी राक्षसग्नि रामा रमणलम्पटा काम्या कामकलारूपा कदम्बकुसुमप्रिया कल्याणी जगती कंदा करुणा रससागरा कलावती कलालापा कांता कादंबरी प्रिया वरदा वामनयना वारुणी मदविह्वला विश्वाधिका वेदवेद्या विंध्याचलनिवासिनी विधात्री वेदजननी विष्णुमाया विलासिनी क्षेत्रस्वरूपा क्षेत्रेशी क्षेत्र क्षेत्रज्ञपालिनी क्षयवृद्धि विनिर्मुक्ता क्षेत्रपाल समर्चिता विजया विमला वंद्या वंदारुजनवत्सला वाग्वादिनी वामकेशी वह्निमण्डलवासिनी भक्तिमत्कल्पलतिका पशुपाश विमोचनी संहृता शेषपाषण्ड सदाचार प्रवर्तिका तापत्रयाग्निसंतप्ता समाह्लादनचंद्रिका तरुणी तापसाराध्या तनुमध्यातमोपहा चितिस्तत्पदलक्ष्यार्था चिदेकरसरूपिणी स्वात्मानन्दलवीभूता ब्रह्माद्यानन्दसन्ततिः परा प्रत्यक्षितिरूपा पश्यन्ती परदेवता मध्यमा वैखरी रूपा भक्तमानसहंसिका कामेश्वर प्राणनाडी कृतज्ञा कामपूजिता शृंगाररससम्पूर्णा जया जालंधरस्थिता ओड्यानपीठनिलया बिन्दुमण्डलवासिनी रहो यागक्रमाराध्या रहस्तर्पणतर्पिता सद्यप्रसादिनी विश्वसाक्षिणी साक्षिवर्जिता षडंगदेवता युक्ता षाड्गुण्यपरिपूरिता नित्यक्लिन्ना निरुपमा निर्वाण सुखदायिनी नित्या षोडशिका रूपा श्रीकंठार्धशरीरिणी प्रभावती प्रभारूपा प्रसिद्धा परमेश्वरी मूल प्रकृतिरव्यक्ता व्यक्ता व्यक्ता स्वरूपिणी व्यापिनी विविधाकारा विद्या विद्या स्वरूपिणी महाकामेश नयना कुमुदाह्लाद कौमुदी भक्तहार्दतमोभेदा भानुमद्भानुसंततिः शिवदूती शिवाराध्या शिवमूर्तिर्शिवंकरी शिवप्रिया शिवपरा शिष्टेष्टाशिष्टपूजिता अप्रमेया स्वप्रकाशा मनोवाचामगोचरा चिच्छक्तिश्चेतना रूपा जड़शक्तिर्जडात्मिका गायत्री व्याहृति संध्या द्विजबृंद निषेविता तत्वासना तत्वमयी पंचकोशांतरस्थिता निस्सीम महिमा नित्य यौवना मदशालिनी मदघूर्णित रक्ताक्षी मतपाटलगंडभूः चंदनद्रव दिग्दांगी चांपेय कुसुम प्रिया कुशला कोमलाकारा कुरुकुल्ला कुलेश्वरी कुलकुंडालया कौलमार्ग तत्पर सेविता कुमारगणनाथांबा तुष्टिपुष्टिर्मतिर्धृतिः शांतिस्वस्तिमती कांतिर्नंदिनी विघ्ननाशिनी तेजोवती त्रिनयना लोलाक्षी कामरूपिणी मालिनी हंसिनी माता मलयाचलवासिनी सुमुखी नलिनी शुभ्रु शोभना सुरनायिका कालकंठी कांतिमती शोभिनी सूक्ष्मरूपिणी वज्रेश्वरी वामदेवी वयोवस्था विवर्जिता सिद्धेश्वरी सिद्धविद्या सिद्धमाता यशस्विनी विशुद्धिचक्रनिलया रक्तवर्णा त्रिलोचना खट्वांगादि प्रहरणा वदनैक समन्विता पायसान्न प्रियात्वस्था पशुलोकभयंकरी अमृतादि महाशक्ति संवृता डाकिनीश्वरी अनाहताब्ज निलया श्यामाभावदनद्वया दंशोज्ज्वलाक्षमालादि धरा रुधिर संस्थिता कालरात्र्यादि शक्त्योघा वृता स्निग्धौदन प्रिया महावीरेन्द्र वरदा राकिन्यंबा स्वरूपिणी मणिपूराब्ज निलया वदनत्रय संयुता वज्रादिकायुधोपेता डामर्यादिभिरावृता रक्तवर्णा मांसनिष्ठा गुडान्न प्रीतमानसा समस्त भक्त सुखदा लाकिन्यंबा स्वरूपिणी स्वाधिष्ठानाम्बुजगता चतुर्वक्त्र मनोहरा शूलाध्यायुध संपन्ना पीतवर्णातिकर्विता मेदो निष्ठा मधुप्रीता बंधिन्यादि समन्विता दध्यन्नासक्त हृदया काकिनी रूपधारिणी मूलाधाराम्बुजारूढ़ा पंचवक्त्रास्ति संस्थिता अंकुशादि प्रहरणा वरदादि निषेविता मुद्गौदनासक्तचित्ता साकिन्यंबा स्वरूपिणी आज्ञा चक्राब्ज निलया शुक्लवर्णा षडानना मज्जा संस्था हंसवती मुख्य शक्ति समन्विता हरिद्रानैक रसिका हाकिनी रूपधारिणी सहस्रदल पद्मस्था सर्ववर्णोपशोभिता सर्वायुधधरा शुक्ल संस्थिता सर्वतोमुखी सर्वौदन प्रीतचित्ता याकिन्यंबा स्वरूपिणी स्वाहा स्वधा मतिर्मेधा श्रुतिस्मृतिरनुत्तमा पुण्यकीर्ति पुण्यलभ्या पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना पुलोमजार्चिता बन्धमोचनी बन्धुरालका विमर्शरूपिणी विद्या वेदादिजगत्प्रसूः सर्वव्याधिप्रशमनी सर्वमृत्युनिवारिणी अग्रगण्या चिन्त्यरूपा कलिकल्मषनाशिनी कात्यायनी कालहन्त्री कमलाक्षनिसेविता ताम्बूलपूरितमुखी दाडिमी कुसुमप्रभा मृगाक्षी मोहिनी मुख्या मृडानी मित्ररूपिणी नित्यतृप्ता भक्तनिधिर्नियन्त्री निखिलेश्वरी मैत्र्यादिवासनालभ्या महाप्रलयसाक्षिणी पराशक्ति परानिष्ठा प्रज्ञानघनरूपिणी माध्वीपानालसामत्ता मातृकावर्णरूपिणी महाकैलासनिलया मृणालनमृदोर्लता महनीया दयामूर्तिर्महासाम्राज्यशालिनी आत्मविद्या महाविद्या श्रीविद्या कामसेविता श्रीषोडशाक्षरी विद्या त्रिकूटा कामकोटिका कटाक्षकिंकरी भूता कमला कोटिसेविता शिरस्थिता चंद्रनिभा भालस्तेन्द्रधनुप्रभा हृदयस्तार विप्रख्या त्रिकोणान्तरदीपिका दाक्षायणी दैत्यहंत्री दक्षयज्ञविनाशिनी दरान्दोलित दीर्घाक्षी दरहासोज्ज्वलन्मुखी गुरुमूर्तिर्गुणनिधिर्गोमाता गुहजन्मभूः देवेशी दण्डनिधिस्ता दहराकाशरूपिणी प्रतिपन्मुख्यराकान्ता तिथिमण्डलपूजिता कलात्मिका कलानाथा काव्यालापविनोदिनी सचामररमावाणी सव्यदक्षिणसेविता आदिशक्तिरमेयात्मा परमा पावनाकृतिः अनेककोटिब्रह्माण्ड जननी दिव्यविग्रह क्लींकारी केवला गुह्या कैवल्यपददायिनी त्रिपुरादिजगद्वन्द्या त्रिमूर्तिर्सदशेश्वरी त्र्यक्षरी दिव्यगन्धाढ्या सिन्धूरतिलकाञ्चिता उमा शैलेन्द्रतनया गौरी गन्धर्वसेविता विश्वगर्भा स्वर्णगर्भा वरदा वागदीश्वरी ध्यानगम्या परिच्छेद्या ज्ञानदा ज्ञानविग्रहा सर्ववेदांत संवेद्या सत्यानंद स्वरूपिणी लोपामुद्रार्चिता लीला क्लुप्त ब्रह्मांड मंडला अदृश्यादृश्य रहिता विज्ञात्री वेद्यवर्जिता योगिनी योगदा योग्या योगानंदा युगंधरा इच्छा शक्ति ज्ञान शक्ति क्रिया शक्ति स्वरूपिणी सर्वाधारा सुप्रतिष्ठा सदसद्रूपधारिणी अष्टमूर्तिरजा जैत्री लोकयात्रा विधायिनी एकाकिनी भूमरूपा निर्द्वैताद्वैतवर्जिता अन्नदा वसुधा वृद्धा ब्रह्मात्मैक्यस्वरूपिणी बृहती ब्राह्मणी ब्राह्मी ब्रह्मानंदावलिप्रिया भाषा रूपा बृहत्सेना भावा भाव विवर्जिता सुखाराध्या शुभकरी शोभना सुलभागतिः राजराजेश्वरी राजदायिनी राजवल्लभा राजत्कृपा राजपीठ निवेशित निजाश्रिता राज्यलक्ष्मी कोशनाथा चतुरंगबलेश्वरी साम्राज्यदायिनी सत्यसंधा सागरमेखला दीक्षिता दैत्यशमनी सर्वलोकवशंकरी सर्वार्थदात्री सावित्री सच्चिदानंदरूपिणी देशकाला परिच्छिन्ना सर्वगा सर्वमोहिनी सरस्वती शास्त्रमयी गुहाम्बा गुह्यरूपिणी सर्वोपाधिविनिर्मुक्ता सदाशिवपतिव्रता संप्रदायेश्वरी साध्वी गुरुमण्डलरूपिणी कुलोत्तीर्णा भगाराध्या माया मधुमती गणाम्बा गुह्यकाराध्या कोमलांगी गुरुप्रिया स्वतंत्रा सर्वतंत्रेशी दक्षिणामूर्तिरूपिणी सनकादिसमाराध्या शिवज्ञानप्रदायिनी चित्कलानंदकलिका प्रेमरूप प्रियंकरी नामपारायण प्रीता नंदिविद्या नटेश्वरी मिथ्या जगदधिष्ठान्ना मुक्तिदा मुक्तिरूपिणी लास्यप्रिया लयकरी लज्जारंभादिवंदिता भवदा वसुधा वृष्टि पापारण्यदवानला दौर्भाग्यतूलवातूल जराध्वांतर विप्रभा भाग्याब्धिचंद्रिका भक्त चित्तकेकी घना घना रोगपर्वतदंबोलिर्मृत्युदारु कुठारिका महेश्वरी महाकाली महाग्रासा महाशना अपर्णा चंडिका चंडमुंडासुरनिषूदिनी क्षराक्षरात्मिका सर्वलोकेशी विश्वधारिणी त्रिवर्गदात्री सुभगा त्र्यंबका त्रिगुणात्मिका स्वर्गापवर्गदा शुद्धा जपा पुष्पनिभाकृतिः ओजोवती धृतिधरा यज्ञरूपा प्रियव्रता दुराराध्या दुरादर्शा पाटली कुसुमप्रिया महती मेरुनिलया मंदार कुसुमप्रिया वीराराध्या विराड्रूपा विरजा विश्वतोमुखी प्रत्यक रूपा पराकाशा प्राणदा प्राणरूपिणी मार्तांड भैरवाराध्या मंत्रिणी न्यस्तराज्यदूः त्रिपुरेशी जयत्सेना निस्त्रैगुण्या परापरा सत्यज्ञानानंदरूपा सामरस्य परायणा कपर्दिनी कलामाला कामधुक्कामरूपिणी कलानिधि काव्यकला रसज्ञा रससेवदिः पुष्टा पुरातना पूज्या पुष्करा पुष्करेक्षणा परंज्योतिः परंधामा परमाणुः परात्परा पाशहस्ता पाशहंत्री परमंत्र विभेदिनी मूर्ता मूर्ता नित्यतृप्ता मुनिमानसंसिका सत्यव्रता सत्यरूपा सर्वांतर्यामिनी सती ब्रह्माणी ब्रह्मजननी बहुरूपा बुधार्चिता प्रसवित्री प्रचंडाज्ञा प्रतिष्ठा प्रकटाकृतिः प्राणेश्वरी प्राणदात्री पंचाशत्पीठरूपिणी विशृंखला विविक्तस्था वीरमाता वियत्प्रसूः मुकुंदा मुक्तिनिलया मूलविग्रहरूपिणी भावज्ञा भवरोगग्नि भवचक्रप्रवर्तिनी छन्दस्सारा शास्त्रसारा मंत्रसारा तलोदरी उदारकीर्तिरुद्दाम वैभवावर्णरूपिणी जन्ममृत्युजरा तप्त जन विश्रांतिदायिनी सर्वोपनिषदुद्घुष्टा शान्त्यातीता कलात्मिका गंभीरा गगनान्तस्था गर्विता गानलोलुपा कल्पनारहिता काष्ठा कांता कांतार्धविग्रहा कार्यकारण निर्मुक्ता कामकेली तरंगिता कनत कनकताटंका लीला विग्रहधारिणी अजाक्षय विनिर्मुक्ता मुग्धा क्षिप्र प्रसादिनी अंतर्मुख समाराध्या बहिर्मुख सुदुर्लभा त्रयी त्रिवर्ग निलया त्रिस्था त्रिपुरमालिनी निरामया निरालंबा स्वात्मा रामा सुधा श्रुति संसार पंक निर्मग्ना समुद्धरण पंडिता यज्ञप्रिया यज्ञकर्त्री यजमान स्वरूपिणी धर्म धारा धनाध्यक्षा धनधान्य विवर्धिनी विप्रप्रिया विप्ररूपा विश्वभ्रमणकारिणी विश्वग्रासा विद्रुमाभा वैष्णवी विष्णुरूपिणी अयो निर्यो निलया कूटस्थाकुलरूपिणी वीरघोष्ठी प्रिया वीरा नैष्कर्म्या नादरूपिणी विज्ञानकलना कल्या विदग्धा वैन्दवासना तत्वाधिका तत्वमयी तत्वमर्थस्वरूपिणी सामगान प्रिया सौम्या सदाशिवकुटुम्बिनी सव्यापसव्य मार्गस्था सर्वापद्विनिवारिणी स्वस्था स्वभाव मधुरा धीरा धीर समर्चिता चैतन्यार्घ्य समाराध्या चैतन्य कुसुम प्रिया सदोदिता सदातुष्टा तरुणादित्यपाटला दक्षिणा दक्षिणाराध्या धरस्मेरमुखाम्बुजा कौलिनी केवलानर्घ्या कैवल्यप्रदायिनी स्तोत्रप्रिया स्तुतिमती श्रुतिसंस्तुतवैभवा मनस्विनी मानवती महेशी मंगलाकृतिः विश्वमाता जगद्धात्री विशालाक्षी विरागिनी प्रगल्भा परमोदारा परामोदा मनोमयी व्योमकेशी विमानस्था वज्रिणी वामकेश्वरी पंचयज्ञप्रिया पंचमेता पंचाधिशायिनी पंचमी पंचभूतेशी पंचसंख्योपचारिणी शाश्वती शाश्वतैश्वर्या शर्मदा शंभुमोहिनी धरा धरसुता धन्या धर्मिणी धर्मवर्धिनी लोकातीता गुणातीता सर्वातीता गुणात्मिका बंधु कुसुम प्रख्या बाला लीला विनोदिनी सुमंगली सुखकरी सुवेशाढ्या सुवासिनी सुवासिन्यर्चन प्रीता शोभना शुद्धमानसा बिंदुतर्पण संतुष्टा पूर्वजा त्रिपुरांबिका दशमुद्रा समाराध्या त्रिपुरा श्रीवशंकरी ज्ञानमुद्रा ज्ञानगम्या ज्ञानज्ञेय स्वरूपिणी योनिमुद्रा त्रिखंडेशी त्रिगुणा अंबा त्रिकोणगा अनघाद्भुत चारित्र्य वांछिता अर्थप्रदायिनी अभ्यासादिश अज्ञाता शरद्भातीत रूपिणी अव्याज करुणामूर्तिरज्ञानध्वांत दीपिका आबालगोपविदिता सर्वानुल्लंघ शासना श्रीचक्रराज निलया श्रीमत्त्रिपुर सुंदरी श्री शिवा शिव शक्त्यैक्य रूपिणी ललितांबिका एवं श्रीललिता देव्या नाम्नां सहस्रकं जगुः इति श्री ब्रह्मांड पुराणे उत्तरखंडे श्री हयग्रीवागस्य संवादे श्री ललिता सहस्रनाम स्तोत्र कथनं संपूर्णम्. I'll be back in a minute. Can you hear me now? Let us begin with the invocation of Bhagavatam. सच्चिदानंदरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रय विनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव। पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतः चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयः यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा। धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमः निर्मत्सराणां सतां। वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम्। श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः। सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यते प्रकृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तक्षणात्। निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं। मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः। मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः। The purpose of all the sadhanas, all the discussion of the Srishti Krama, all the details of the explanation of time, space, the calculation of light, calculation of time, the explanation of geography, geology, astronomy, astrology, everything that comes as we are reading through Bhagavatam, as explained by Kapila Mahamuni to his mother Devahuti. All of this is for one singular purpose. It is to invoke the devotion of that Bhagavan in our heart in such a way that other than that Paramatma Chintana, other than that mind reveling in Bhagavan, nothing else matters. That is the purpose. That is the sole idea. Because in that heart where Bhagavad Chintana takes complete root, deep root, and that mind is absorbed, soaking into that devotion, such a devotional mind is now ready for the Brahmakara Vritti, that which Vedanta is pointing at, that which even Bhagavatam will point at. Satyam Param Dhimahi. Even in the invocation, that is what is the focus. So that should be always kept in mind. That the purpose of it is not just some Harikatha Kalakshepa. Kshepa means to throw away. Kalakshepa, to throw away the time in Harikatha. At least it is in that direction. But the purpose of it is not to pass time. Not just to pass time. It is to invoke that Bhagavan and his blessings in such a way that his Chintana becomes Nitya Nirantara. That there is Avirala Chintana. That there is continuous thinking of that Bhagavan and his Shri Vigraha. All the yoga abhyasa that was taught in this particular chapter, Yama, Niyama, then the Asana, Asana Siddhi, then the Pranayama, all of this for what? Once that Prana Nishtha is established, that the Prana, through the Prana, the mind is yoked in, is like a lasso thrown around the animal to catch hold of it, and then not to be dragged by it, because now you are connected with the lasso by that animal, which is what happens to most of us. that we catch hold of it and so tightly that it takes us for a ride. Today, I had sketched, the entire Shiva family riding. They go for a ride. Whether it is Nandi, whether it is Mayura, whether it is Mushika, they go in the direction where they want it to be. अपन लोगों का हालत वैसा नहीं है. Our mind, we ride it, but it takes its own direction. कभी इधर कभी उधर, कभी जाने का मन ही नहीं करता है. Why not come to this? आज ना, today is my downtime. I will take a break. Today I don't feel like it. Life doesn't happen based on the feeling of what the mind wants it to be directing itself in. So that chitta has to be so brought into focus and then channelize that mind into the next step of higher sadhana. And what is the next step there? Such mind which has that ekagrata, which has been brought, yoked, and has been stabilized, disciplined, because there is the nishtha of yama niyama. Without that yama niyama, it is like trying to move in a car which doesn't have tires. If there is somebody who says, opens the door for you, they're being very, very gracious. They open the door for you, and you are now in a doubt. You are opening the door is fine, but car के tires किधर है? Without the tire, where are you trying to take me? No, समझिए, लॉन्ग ड्राइव जाएंगे, फास्ट ड्राइव जाएंगे, पहले टायर तो लगाओ. कहीं हिलने वाला नहीं है बगैर टायर के. It will not move an inch. Similarly, yama, niyama, then the asana nishtha, then the prana nishtha, then you can do the dharana of Bhagavan. Without the first four tires, we want to first straight away, Swamiji, all this talk, walk and everything, this is fine. Teach us meditation. दांत तो साफ करने आते नहीं है. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, and that has to be a nishtha where, having done that, the mind comes to that focal point automatically. My mind goes here, my mind goes. Train it. That is your choice, right? So train it efficiently. Such a trained mind, what should it focus upon? I go with the assumption that most of us in this Kali Yuga, we need Saguna Sakara Dhyana, Saguna Sakara Upasana Paddhati. Because the abstraction, if we want to grasp it, the mind has to be very, very sharp, undisturbed. Now we know our mind capacity. And then we will go into the ideal thinking that, Swamiji, all these names and forms, I don't know. I think of Bhagwan as that supreme energy, Banerjee, Chatterjee. I get allergy. The mind should be available, Baba. that available mind can be applied for the subtler, highest thinking. Mind functions in the realm of guna, akara, swarupa. Therefore, Kapila Mahamuni, to his most able student, his own mother, he introduces from the 13th shloka onwards. So far, what I spoke was the first 12 shlokas. इसमें इतना भरा हुआ था. Now, moving forward is the most beautiful, because this is Bhagavatam, this is Bhagavan Kapila Mahamuni himself. Now, a yogi describing Bhagavan, a bhakta describing Bhagavan. Here, Bhagavan himself is describing the great form. That is the beauty of it. So, what is he saying? O mother, प्रसन्नवदनाम्बोजं पद्मगर्भारुणेक्षणं नीलोत्पलदलश्यामं शङ्खचक्रगदाधरं. Beautiful Chaturbhuja Rupa of that Bhagavan Sri Hari. Prasannavadanam He is always in a most pleasant, cheerful disposition. And therefore, he has a smile on his face. It's not the other way around. That it is not a pleasant disposition, but I am trying to force a smile on my face. That will be like the air hostess welcoming in the flight. आधा काम इधर कर रही है, आधा काम उधर कर रही है, हम से वेलकम फिर बैक. Let's not have a paid smile. Let's have that smile which is coming through the pleasant disposition. Bhagavan's smile is born out of that. Prasanna vadanam bhojam. How are his eyes? Padma garbharunekshanam. Padma Garbha, the very center, the womb of that Padma, the lotus, it is of a slight pinkish hue, right in the middle. From pink to yellow are the in between where the pollen is hanging, but right in the middle, it is light pink. So the eyes are light pinkish color. Beautiful eyes. Neelotpala dala shyamam. Neela utpala dala shyamam. Beautiful name, Utpala. Utpala is lotus. How is it? Neela. And when I say Neela, it is dark cloud with a bluish tinge, if you can imagine it. Neela Utpala Shyamam. And he is multitasking, four-armed. And what do those four arms have? Shankha Chakra Gadadharam. In one hand he has Shankha, the second hand he has Chakra, and then the lower hand he has Gada, and one hand is Abhaya Mudra. In that Abhaya Mudra, people also, I have heard the description of Dhyana, where there is a lotus as well. So there is a lotus and either lotus hai, and then there is Abhaya Hasta. Bhagavan is Shri Vigraha, Shri Rupa is beautifully, pleasantly seated. Now the description given of Bhagavan by Bhagavan. That is the most beautiful part of this description. Lasat pankaja kinjalka pita kausheya vasasam shrivatsa vakshasam bhrajat kaustubha mukta kandharam. Now this Chatur Bhuja Rupa of Bhagavan Sri Hari with the most amazing pleasantness that is described in the earlier shloka. The center portion which I was just describing of the lotus, there is a yellow stalk. Okay. He is wearing the clothes which are of that color. Now, the silk, when it is in its pure raw form, as it is extracted and as it is woven, it has a yellowish shade to it. Now, if when you're making natural colors, if you take saffron and you put it with the iron filings or nails and leave it in water for a couple of days, it rusts, and that color that comes out when thrown onto the cloth, it leaves that subtle, pleasant, deep yellow with golden yellow, but not very bright, very pleasantly. That is the kind of cloth that he is wearing. And then he has on the Vakshasthala, he has the Srivatsa Chinha, and there is a beautiful hara that is going, and there is Kaustubha Mani right there. So with that Chaturbhuja Rupa, he is pleasantly seated. Then there is this beautiful Vanamala around his neck. Now Vanamala it is not the mala made of Vana. Vanamala is that which is made out of wild flowers. Wild, most exotic looking, most fragrant. So much is the fragrance that around that mala, there are these Brahmara that is running around. What a blessed Brahmara, that it gets the nectar also and the nectar giver also. It's right there, right? So the Brahmara, Vanamalaya. And then there is from the head to the toe, all the abhushana. There is mukuta, there is on the mukuta, there is the decoration that is beautifully carved, and it is embedded with lot of precious stones. Then there is a kundala, then there is nupura, then nupura is in the feet. Then there are the bhujaskanda, on the shoulders there are these beautiful ornaments. Then on his wrist there is beautiful ornaments. So from head to toe, he is, it comes later in the description, that his presence is adding the beauty to the ornaments. When we wear, the situation is we wear it as enhancers for our beauty, but he wearing these ornaments is adding the beauty to the ornaments. ये उल्टा हो गया ना. Then darshaniyatmam shantam mano nayana vardhanam. Now with your mano nayana, you have to observe it, meaning bahya nayana, close them. With the mano nayana, with the eyes of your mind, visualize this beautiful form right in the seat of your own heart. Right on the middle of your heart, imagine this beautiful form of Bhagavan. Now, this kind of Bhagavan is the one, when you focus on, it has helped many bhaktas, many people who have lived prior to us, who have made this sadhana, made this dhyana as their anchor without having to wobble with anything else in life. These bhaktas have attained, like Dhruva, Prahlada, Narada, the stories that we have just read. They would meditate on this form of Bhagavan. This was the form that Bhagavan Narada explained to Dhruva, explained to Prahlada, so that when they sat down for meditation, they could immediately visualize this particular form. Now, more details to this form. That is where dhyana is. And the dhyana starts from the Padaravinda, from the feet all the way up. So now your whole drishti is down at the feet. So all the Muni, so one thing is established, that all the Sreshta Bhakta, Rishi Pungava, Muni, Dhyani, all of them have visualized in this particular way. Now here another aspect that I would want to add is, here Bhagavan Kapila is describing Bhagavan Sri Hari's form. If your Ishtadaiva is a different form, if it is Ganeshji, if it is Devi, find the description and start meditating from the feet upwards. Okay. Sanchintayed Bhagavat Charanaravindam. 21st shloka. So Sanchintayet Bhagavat Charanaravindam. Chintayet, do the thinking of, contemplating upon. Sanchintayet, without any other distractions, without any other here or there, the mind jumping, completely absorbed into that which the Manonayana is visualizing. So think of that Bhagavan's feet. Now, what happens when you do the Chintana of Bhagavan's feet? The pleasant radiation is like the glow of the full moon, in whose light, in whose presence, Hridaya Andhakaram Unmilitam. That Andhakara, that Ajnana Andhakara that has been occupying in our heart, that will get displaced instantly. When our focus in that Bhagavan's Sri Charana is Sanchintayet, is complete and comprehensive. So start from the feet. And then he continues. From this Mangalamaya, beautiful feet of Bhagavan, then we move to the Janudvayam Jalajalocanaya Jananya, the 23rd shloka. Janudvayam. Janudvayam is up until the knee. So there are the calf and the knee. This is that supported by that calf muscle and the knee. It is on that left thigh of Bhagavan, Jagat Janani, Janani of even Brahmaji, Lakshmi ji is seated. That is supported by. How is the color of the see, the feet are pink in color, but as you move your eyes upwards, there's a transition of the color from pink to a bluish purplish color. Now that light bluish purplish color is like the Alasi Pushpa. Even in the bhajans, many of the devotees have covered that Alasidala Pushpa Sankasham. So Alasi is linseed, also known as flaxseed. So the flaxseed flower, if you have ever seen, and along with the Nilotpala, there is another description given. Now you can match and compare to come at the right color description. So that Alasidala flaxseed is called, in Telugu, it is called Avisa. In Tamil, I think it's called Ali Vittai. Vittai is seed. Ali Vittai. So the flaxseed. The flower of it, then you can Google it. कहाँ पे ढूंढेंगे स्वामी जी यहाँ पे? Where do I find this flower? Google है ना. So Google and see the color of it. So beautifully pleasant, the bluish purplish, light bluish purplish tinge. And on that is seated this mother, who is the Jagat Janani. Lakshmya Akhilasya Sura Vanditaya Vidhatuhu. Along with all the Devi Devatas, even that Brahmaji prostrates to that feet where Bhagwan, along with Lakshmi ji, seated on his left thigh. Then Uru. Uru is the thigh region. How is it? Now both of them are seated high on the shoulders of Garuda Bhagavan. Are they flying? I mean, that is left to your imagination. My way of looking at it is they're just about to leap into a sortie, like, to take a flight. So Garuda ji is holding on to the wall and he is about to jump off, and there on his shoulders is Bhagwan, and his thighs are rested on his shoulders, and above that is Lakshmi ji seated. That, imagine right around the feet where it is the pinkish color transitioning into the most delicate purplish blue, and there is the pitambara, the delicate yellow, golden yellow color landing. क्या मजेदार कलर कॉम्बिनेशन है. And if you have Bhagavan Shiva is Abhisheka Priya. You keep pouring and he is happy with that. Whereas Bhagavan Sri Hari is Alankara Priya. क्या कलर कॉम्बिनेशन है. So the Pitambara, the Alasidala Pushpa color, and the feet, which is like the center portion where it is very, very light pink, as they say, baby pink. Yeah, that color. Then lifting our eyes from the Uru means the thigh region. Now we move to the Nabhi area. That Nabhi area, which is Bhuvana Kosha Guhodarasya, that is where connected is Brahmaji, where that Kamala had arisen, and in that is Brahmaji seated. Now Brahmaji is called the cause of this creation, the creator. The creator's connection is right at that Nabhi Kshetra. Now that Nabhi Kshetra, now wherever you look, whether it is Devi description given, the whichever form of Devi or Devata that you look into, the Nabhi Kshetra is often defined as the origin of creation. And therefore Nabhi is also the Kshetra where there is space. Now that space in which there is a possibility of creation to surge. Like the Indian feeding system, hospitality, where एकदम ठूस के भर चुके हो, and then they come with अरे इतना है जी, एक और तो खा ही सकते हो, जगह कहाँ है? For anything to be created, to be filled, to be brought out, there has to be space, and Nabhi is that space. I'm talking about the collective totality space is at that Nabhi Kshetra. That is where Brahmaji was. Brahmaji came to manifest, and the creative surge happened from that Nabhi Kshetra. So the creator's origin. So it is the creator and the originator. The connection is this Nabhi Kshetra. In the occult, there is this astral connection. That astral connection also happens from the Nabhi into the astral world of totality. Just mentioning it so that you can connect it wherever. Instead of wherever, it should be whenever you come across that particular topic. Then then you come to the chest region. Now in that chest region, there is the Śrīvatsankita. Śrīvatsankita, there is a chihna, there is a birthmark on Bhagwan's chest. It is not on the right side, but it is little to the left side. Where the chest plates splits, right? Right there on the more leaning towards the left side, there is a mark. What kind of a mark? Just to give you a description, when you look at the hairline, मेरा मत देखो, सपाट है, where there is like the children, when you see, sometimes you see those hair turnings, either in the front, definitely in the back, from where you can actually part the hair, right? The hair is going in one particular angle or direction of movement. You see that, right? And it forms its own kind of a, so there is a birthmark, and the birthmark is just like that. It is like concentric circles going around, and that is the seat where Mother Lakshmi ji always resides in that Śrīvatsanka. And then he says, Kantancha kaustubhamanehe adhibhushanartham. On the kantha, there is this kaustubhamani hanging. And the kantha is so beautiful and supple, it is that it is providing beauty to the kaustubhamani. Kaustubhamanehe adhibhushanartham. It is providing alankara to the kaustubhamani. When we wear, it is to enhance our beauty. At least that is the thought. Sometimes I see like the Ratha Chakra, and let me not go into that description. डेकोरेशन कर रहे हैं कि डिस्प्ले कर रहे हैं, पता नहीं चलता है. But Bhagwan, whatever he is wearing, it is to provide the beauty to that ornament. Kaustubhamanehe adhibhushanartham. Then bahunscha mandaragirehe parivartanena. The bahu, the shoulder and the side here. It looks like the Mandaragirehe, Mandarachala Parvat, which was used to churn the Milky Ocean. It's supposed to be big, huge mountain. So these shoulders look like that mountain. Now you're seated at his feet. You're looking wide, big, muscular shoulders. When I say muscular, it is not like the Arnold, bulk. It has a graciousness to it. It looks muscular as well as very subtle and delicate, very supple and delicate. Now, from there, when you're visualizing it, the wide chest, nicely articulated with the beautiful muscles, then the chest and comes the Nabhi Kshetra. It is mostly like they say in exercises, and there is a V-shaped body. There is a similar description in Mahabharata when describing, I think, Bhima. It is a special name given, Vrikodaraha. Vrikodaraha is a V-shaped body, but his waist size, even the best of the models on the ramp will feel challenged. दिखने में, when you look at his chest, he looks like formidable. But when you look at his Nabhi Kshetra, it is like so beautiful and so compact. It is not like it is ekdam, and nicely muscularly shaped. So imagine that. And then from there, move to the hands. On the hand, meditate and visualize a radiating, sparkling Sudarshana Chakra. On his index finger, there is a Sudarshana Chakra which is constantly rotating, and that rotation is sparkling at the edges. And how are these edges? These edges are Dashashata, like it is multi-edged. Thousands of edges shining and sparkling at the same time. So if you can visualize, there is, in Diwali time, during Deepavali, there is something called Bhuchakra, right? After it is lit, 30-40 seconds, it goes one round, and then you see the sparkles all across, right? Now imagine that on Bhagavan Sri Mahavishnu's finger, index finger, and as many edges, that many sparks it is lighting up. And this is not a pleasant radiation. It is karkasha, like it is very, very harsh, lightning like sparkles that are going on his index finger. On the other hand, on the other side is Shankhanchatat Karasaroruha Rajahamsam. It is like a Rajahamsa. Have you seen a Hamsa? So beautiful, delicate it looks. The curves, the angles, the seamlessness in those curves. It is like that Rajahamsa seated in his hand, palm. So one side is this Sudarshana Chakra, the other side there is a Shankha Chakra, and the Gada is downstairs. Like it is going towards the feet and he is holding it in his hand. And what is the Gada called? Kaumodikim Bhagavato Dayitam Smaret. Kaumodikim Bhagavato. Kaumodiki is the name of that Gada, the mace. And how is it? It shows the marks of the prowess of Bhagavan when he has already used it on those who were trying to destabilize this entire creation. Meaning, there are these war marks, the battle marks. Now, battle में marks क्या होते हैं? They have only described battle marks. I am imagining this is not something that will, like, when you give the water bottle to the kids in the beginning of the year, but somewhere middle of the year, you will see the school battle marks on them. Dent here, dent there, dent everywhere. Now, Bhagavan's Astra, I would not imagine it to be such a lutuk putuk that, they used it once and it dented. No, then what are the marks? It must have been the dried rakta that of the enemy that was vanquished. So that is also seen on that Gada. And then right around, see, the Gada is slantingly placed at the feet and he is holding it. Imagine. Right around that Gada is the feet also. And at that feet, this Vanamala, Pushpamala, everything is hanging right. It is not like a Pushpamala where sometimes, I go to places where we do the puja and Pushpamala has to be, and you have to somehow try fitting it onto Bhagavan because flowers are costly. Now, how does Bhagavan wear his flower? Is it so? There is a Pushpamala that comes right around the lower chest, right about his stomach area. The Vanamala is going in Tirupati, they call it as, for Bhagavan Venkateshwara, Balaji, when they use, it's called the Tomala. So like that Tomala, it is going all the way down. When he stands up, it is his entire body length. And as he's seated, it comes straight to his feet. Just above his feet, there are these flowers. And around those flowers, Madhuvrata Varutha Giropa Gushtam. There are like these colonies of bees and bumblebees that are hovering around those pushpa. Now, can you imagine with your Mano Netra, with the Mano Nayana, all the beautiful, amazing fragrances of these Vana Pushpa, Kamala Dala. Of course, there is Shrigandha Lepana and everything around. A mix of all of this put together. Next time you go to India, try planning it to go to Vrindavan. There is this beautiful temple. It's called Banke Bihari Temple. And they do not keep that Banke Bihari visible for more than 10 seconds. In between, they put the curtain briefly, just for 5 seconds, and then remove it again. The reason is, if there is an intense devotee that sees Bhagavan intensely, this entire Shri Vigraha of Banke Vihari will start walking with them. So to cut short that, they keep putting the curtain so that Bhagavan can stay there for more devotees to come. It's a very different way of bhakti praparti that you can. There when you go, especially during the early morning or late evenings and in summers, to keep the entire environment cool, there are these mist sprayers from the top that they have fixed. The whole altar is filled with these Tulasi Mala, Vanamala, Pushpamala, Lotus. It is colorfully embedded with flowers. And this misty fragrance you are just transported into the very presence. Now, can you imagine that seated anywhere? That with your manonetra, you are visualizing that Bhagwan in your own heart, and this, it's not just Nayanaravinda, like and it is not just Nayanananda that you seeing, and it is filling in through all your sense organs. That even the nostrils are filled with these divine fragrances. Then, moving forward, the ears, there is the ornament that is hanging in there, slightly shaking, moving. And how is it designed? Makara Kundala Vilag Valgitena. 29th shloka. Makara Kundala Valagnitena. It is a brand, okay. Just in today's, they wear the t-shirt with a crocodile, right? Lakotsi or something. तो भगवान का भी ब्रांड है. It is Makara Kundala Dhari. They are these, they are shaped like a crocodile, but very articulately designed, and it is hanging very delicately on his ears. And then coming down to his Mukhamandala, and what is the most amazing that attracts your attention immediately are his eyes. How are the eyes described? Meenadvaya ashrayam adikshipa abja netram and abja netram. So the netra are like two meena. Meena is fish. I mean, don't translate it as something fishy about his eyes. The shape of the fish, the eyes are big and nice, beautiful shape. Bluish hue is the face. Light pink are his eyes, and dark eyeballs moving. The dark eyeballs moving look like a Brahmara that is seated trying to suck the nectar of the Sri Mukharavinda. Like the lotus of the face, right there seated are these two Brahmara trying to enjoy the nectar of Bhagwan's Sri Vigraha. And then Dhyayen Manomayamatindrita Ullasadbhruhu. Ullasadbhru. It is like, somebody who is teasingly, tantalizingly, calling your attention. The eyebrows are, like a wave. On both sides, there is like a wave, and there is the Meena with the Brahmara kind of the eyeballs jumping, looking at the Bhakta. And then comes the Mukha. You talk about going into the French, the name was right there, Mona Lisa. Have you ever been there? If you ever have been there, you go with such an anticipation and build, and go there, and you turn around and then walk straight, and you are still searching. Ye Madam Mona Lisa hai kahan? And then you get a small painting, very small, and then we are told ki ye hai the most beautiful smile, and you are like, kithe? Where exactly is that? On the other side. No, Bhagwan's Shri Vigraha, if you want to see the actual amazement of that, it just captivates your mind. It doesn't leave you questioning where is the smile. It just captivates your mind. The lips are slightly parted, and the lips are having a urdhva mukha, like they're going upward. When you smile, it goes upward. When you're sad, it goes downward. Those caricature sad face, or even the emoji, right? It goes down, and when it is up, it is. So it is not like it is slightly parted, mrudu mandahasa. A very delicate smile on that lips. Now, he says, Dhyanayanam prahasatim bahuladharoštha. Now, this kind of form, imagine, create this vigraha in your mind. How long should one practice this kind of meditation? How long should one do this saguna sakara dhyana of Bhagavan? First, as long as it takes that effortlessly when you close your eyes, this is the Shri Vigraha that comes automatically in your heart. आंख बंद करते ही तत्क्षण, you don't effortlessly, that Shri Vigraha comes into your mind. Until then, now that form which comes effortlessly, you meditate upon. The second step is, this is in the 35th shloka. Nirvanamrchati manas sahasa yatharchihi. That this kind of mind is now ready for nirvanamrchati, ready for the final step. And what is that final step? He makes it very clear here. He says, Atmanamatra purushaha avyavadhanamekam. That when you are meditating on this form, that there is absolutely no more distinction left between dhyana, dhyatru, dhyeya. Up until now, what was said? That with the manonayana, with the manonetra, you watch and visualize all this until to that point where effortlessly this form is constant in our heart. Now this form has to be meditated upon up until that point where dhyana, dhyatra, dhyeya, bheda stops. And that mind has been absorbed and there is only Bhagavan. It is like the example given in the 35th shloka is, there is a lamp filled with oil and there is a wick and that lamp is lit. How long will that go on? Until the oil finishes and the light merges into its own source. Similarly, the mind merging into its own source, it is completely soaked and absorbed in. Until then, we practice this form of meditation. Karo ab meditation. This is the Shri Vigraha Chintana. And then he says, being in this particular state of oneness is what Vedanta calls as being absorbed in Atma Chaitanya. Therefore, when we started Bhagavatam, we said Bhakti has two kids, Jnana and Vairagya. Jnana becomes natural step in that heart which is filled with Bhakti. Na anyatha. It cannot be other way. Now, in that state, what happens? Just like the 37th shloka, just like somebody Madira Madandha, somebody who is intoxicated in Madira Pana, intoxicants. You must have seen them, right? When they are intoxicated, the fellow wants to lift the foot and put somewhere, and the foot goes somewhere else, and then there is you record it and show it to them the next day. I said, no, you have done some editing. It's not me. Why? It fails logic, right? What they do, what they walk, or how they walk. Now, somebody who does is intoxicated, just that intoxicant effect. This Mahatma who is now one with that, their Bahya Deha Drishti is completely evaporated. Sometimes they are seated, sometimes they are in Sashtanga Dandavat Pranam, sometimes this is called Unmatta Sthiti. In Hindi, I would translate it Unka Mast Sthiti, Unmatta Sthiti. Highly intoxicated. And sometimes you see that there is Ashrudhara. Ashrudhara, there is tears. These tears is not, they are not from the pangs of separation of Bhagavan. These tears are not for the longing of Bhagavan. These tears are the expression of that overflow which has reached after you have attained fulfillment, and in that fulfillment there is no more, whatever is that is overflowing. There is no crier, there's tears happening. Even in Narada Bhakti Sutra, all of this is described. So, Unmattavat. Now, those of us who want to practice and abide in the highest, it's not like they're giving us a choice saying those of us. This should be the highest that one should aim for. And step by step explained. How do you do the discrimination to have that discrimination which brings in Vairagya? So Purusha Prakriti Bheda was taught in the earlier chapter. And then invoke Bhakti. And then do the Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara. Then do the Dharana of this Bhagavan. And in that Dharana, in that contemplation and holding on to one form, one image, don't make the mistake. Many of us make the mistake that we see a photo or a Vigraha and imagine that Vigraha in our heart that we are to contemplate upon is first of all a two-dimensional and non-sentient. No, enlive in it. So just the eyes are moving, there is a smile, there is the chest, heaving while breathing. You can see that subtle movement. and then the Brahmara is moving around, the flowers are, and the feet. You see it as an enlivened form, visualize it. And that visualization is called Saguna Sakara Manasika Dhyana of that Bhagwan Shri Hari. Now, to such a devotee, he continues to explain the very crux of bhakti and the influence of time and its effects in the next chapter that we will see next week. Since I do not see Sushma Amma, Kalpana, can you please let me just put.
Hari Om Swami.
Thank you.
Shri Guru Charan Saroj Raj Nij Mana Mukuru Sudhari Varno Raghubar Bimal Jasu Jodayak Phal Chari बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर राम दूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरण विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बढ़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही सम भाई सहस बदन तुम्हरो जस गावे हस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कवि कोविद कह सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाहि दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिन पैसारे सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज सम्हारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कापे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासै रोग हरै सब पीड़ा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता, असबर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुवरपुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्तन धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीड़ा, जो सुमिरै हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरण, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो रे भाई सब संतन की जय।
Thank you so much. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। Harihi Om. Take care, everyone. See you next.